Eurovision 2024 Top 37 Countdown. It's number 36. It's Malta, Sarah Bonnici with Loop. Please do click on the subscribe button, ring that notification bell, share the bell, and like, share, and comment below. Now, while we do really have a very mixed set of genres at Eurovision this year, really varied, I think, we do have several examples of that kind of most enduring of modern Eurovision genres, which is the kind of the up-tempo girly bop. And it's Malta that brings us the first girly bop in my countdown this year. And 2023 was a bit of a disappointment for Malta. They finished last in their semi-final, undeservedly, if I may say so. I thought it was a fun song. I enjoyed it, but sadly, the televoters did not enjoy it, and it finished last. So will Sarah Bonnici be able to turn things round for the island nation, where she will be opening the second semi-final with her song Loop? Now, Sarah comes from Gozo, which is the smaller of the two main islands of Malta, and she is the daughter of one of Malta's sort of big businessmen or sort of tycoons. I think he owns one of the sports teams and a various sort of construction, one of the big towers of commercial venture. So he's quite well known and obviously very wealthy. But she's been involved in various musical sort of musical contests for quite some time. She's entered various of the Malta Junior Eurovision sort of selection contests, as well as Maltese X Factor and various other things. And she's also entered the Malta Eurovision Song Contest, which is the Maltese national selection. She entered that in 2022. Obviously wasn't successful that year, but was successful this year with Loop, where she easily won the jury vote, and in the Maltese national final, the jury vote takes up over 75% of the overall vote. So having won the juries, that was more or less her home and dry. But she did get second with the public, the 23, 24, 5%. That was the public vote as well. Now, Loop, like a lot of Eurovision entries these days, does have a long list of songwriters or co-writers, and the list grew even longer when the song went through a bit of a revamp in the latter part of the season that was released in March. Two of those extra co-writers were a Swedish songwriter-producer pair of Joy and Linnea Deb. Now, those names may be familiar to some of you who follow Eurovision closely. They've been behind or have been co-writers or producers of several of well-known Eurovision songs, including this year's Swedish entry, Unforgettable, and also most famously Heroes, which won them the contest in 2015 with Måns Zelmerlöw singing that. So quite a good pedigree in terms of kind of the background, in terms of the writers behind the song. Now, I know it can be quite irritating to hear reviews or comments that people say on when they hear a new Eurovision entry, and they say, "Oh, this is just like Euphoria, Fuego, Cha Cha Cha, etc., etc." Delete as appropriate. But I think in this case of Loop, I think we can genuinely point to Slow Mo, which is Chanel's Spain's entry in 2022, as being a very direct influence on this song. Not just the song, but also the performance, the choreography, and even sort of the costumes. And, you know, obviously Eurovision song doesn't have to be original, and quite often they are not necessarily original. But I think where you have something where the influence is so obvious as it feels here, then it really, really does need to be extremely well executed. And, you know, I'm not meaning this in sort of an unkind way, but Loop just doesn't match up to Slow Mo's excellent Few Things Good. That really did hit a really high plateau of things. That all being said, Sarah, who seems a really nice, really lovely person, she can sing well live. She can sing doing the choreography and sing well, which is more than quite a few people can do. But it's just not going to be at that Chanel-like level, nor even close, really. And we have not one but 3 dance breaks, I believe, in Loop. And again, there's quite a lot of imitation of Slow Mo's choreography in it. Again, it's not just looking like it, but it feels like it's almost like a direct imitation of it. And it feels like, I do feel like those additional dance breaks have been put in to try and make this perhaps stand out more and advance on from slow-mo. But to me, it just feels rather contrived, and it takes up quite a chunk of time in what I feel is already quite a thin song. Now they open the second semi-final, and at the moment that's probably marginally the more open of the two semi-finals, although only marginally. But I think the downside is in that second semi-final, they have an almost all female first half, and I think there's just a chance that Loop may get overlooked or forgotten if it can't stand out in a really, really striking way. Now, at the moment, at the time of recording this, it is sitting at 30th in the Eurovision scoreboard app, which is not that high, given that the scoreboard app tends to be favourable to uptempo girl bops. They tend to do better in the app than perhaps they tend to do than they may well do at Eurovision. So it rather confirms what I think is likely, that this will be rather overshadowed by kind of the other girl bops that we've got at the contest this year, most of which are kind of more interesting or more original, or there's just something, the package about them feels more there. I'd say it's not impossible for Sarah to qualify, but at the moment I think I'd put this as slightly less likely to qualify at the moment. And I was actually surprised at Eurofest, or in fact it was Boom Bang a Bang at Eurofest just a few days ago, where we there's the people there, we watch all the videos of the songs and then we vote on them, and again tends to favour the kind of up-tempo, tends to favour the up-tempo songs quite often, the results in that. Obviously it's 130 people of a particular demographic, but Malta did only just scraped above, I think they were probably about 30th, 31st, even in that list as well. And again, I think that probably just indicates to me that Loop just isn't quite reaching the standards or attracting the interest that it needs to in order to get through to the final. That's to say, though, it's not impossible that it could get through with a really impressive and memorable sort of show opener. But we will see. But of course, as always, that's just my thing about it. I don't dislike it. It's quite nice to have a set of Eurovision songs where there's very few, you don't actively dislike anything. It's just that it's just not sort of getting me excited, I should say. But do let me know what you think down in the comments, and join me again when we'll be back with next in the countdown. Take care.